Hello, I am Girish Krishnani. And you are watching 5-Minute Learnings. In the last video we learnt about sensory memory in detail, and now we shall focus upon the short-term memory and how it works. Short-term memory is the capacity to store a small amount of information in the mind and keep it readily available for a brief period of time. It is also known as primary or active memory and is essential for daily functioning. If I were to compare human memory with that of a computer, sensory memory would be the cache memory, short-term memory would be the RAM of the human brain, and long-term memory would be the hard disk. Span of short-term memory. Most of the information kept in short-term memory will be stored for approximately 20 to 30 seconds or even less. Some information can last in short-term memory for up to a minute, but most information spontaneously decays quite quickly, unless you use rehearsal strategies such as saying the information aloud or mentally repeating it. However, the information in short-term memory is also highly susceptible to interference. Any new information that enters short-term memory will quickly displace old information. Similar items in the environment can also interfere with short-term memories. For example, you might have a hard time remembering someone's name if you're in a crowded, noisy room, or if you were thinking of what to say to the person rather than paying attention to their name. Capacity of short-term memory. The amount of information that can be stored in short-term memory can vary. In 1956, in an influential paper titled The Magical Number 7, psychologist George Miller suggested that people can store about 7 items in short-term memory, plus or minus 2, that is somewhere between 5 and 9. More recent research suggests that people are capable of storing approximately 4 chunks or pieces of information in short-term memory. Short-term memory versus the working memory. Some researchers argue that working memory and short-term memory significantly overlap, and may even be the same thing. The distinction is that working memory refers to the ability to use, manipulate, and apply memory for a period of time, for example, recalling a set of instructions as you complete a task, while short-term memory refers only to the temporary storage of information in memory. The Baddeley-Hitch model of working memory suggests that there are 2 components of working memory: a place where you store visual and spatial information, called the visuospatial scratchpad, and a place where you record auditory information, called the phonological loop. In addition, the model suggests there is a central executive that controls and mediates these 2 components as well as processes information, directs attention, sets goals, and makes decisions. How short-term memory becomes long-term memory. Short-term memory is limited in both capacity and duration, and in order for a memory to be retained, it needs to be transferred from short-term stores into long-term memory. The exact mechanisms for how this happens remain controversial and not well understood. The classic model, known as the Atkinson-Shiffrin model or multimodal model, suggested that all short-term memories are automatically placed in long-term memory after a certain period of time. More recently, researchers have proposed that some mental editing takes place, and that only particular memories are selected for long-term retention. Factors such as time and interference can affect how information is encoded in memory. Some researchers, however, dispute the idea that there are separate stores for short-term and long-term memories at all. Maintenance rehearsal, or simply rehearsal, can help move memories from short-term to long-term memory. For example, you might use this approach when studying for an exam. Instead of just reviewing the information once, you might go over your notes repeatedly until the critical information is committed to memory. Chunking. Chunking is one memorization technique that can facilitate the transfer of information into long-term memory. This approach involves organizing information into more easily learned groups, phrases, words, or numbers. For example, it will take a large amount of effort to memorize the following number: 65,495,328,463. However, it will be easier to remember if it is chunked into groups of 3 or 4. Like the following: 65495328,463. Mnemonics. Easily remembered mnemonic phrases, abbreviations, or rhymes can help move short-term memories into long-term storage. A few common examples include ROY GBIV, an acronym that represents the first letter of each color of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. 30 days hath September, a poem used to remember how many days are in each month. Another mnemonic strategy, which dates back to around 500 BC, is the method of Loci. The method of Loci, or the memory palace, involves mentally placing the items you are trying to remember around a room, such as on the sofa, next to a plant, or on the window seat. To trigger your memory, you then visualize yourself going to each location, triggering your recall for that information. Memory consolidation. Memory consolidation is the process in which the brain converts short-term memories into long-term ones. Rehearsing or recalling information over and over again creates structural changes in the brain that strengthen neural networks. The repeated firing of two neurons makes it more likely that they will repeat that firing again in the future. In the next video, we will learn about the long-term memory in detail. Hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, 5-Minute Learnings. And do remember to hit the bell icon to get notified of the new videos. Thanks for watching.